Hello and welcome to today's video. Today is a get ready with me using items that I'm currently panning. I recently uploaded a video laying out everything that I'm currently panning and kind of just showed you each category. So I'm going to be using some of those items today to create this look here. I will make sure I link that in the cards if you haven't seen that video, but also we're just going to kind of be flipping back and forth between talking about some makeup that I'm putting on and then also just giving you a little bit of a life update. So why don't we go ahead and get into it. All right, I'm gonna start out with, I really am like someone who I like primers. I know I think there are a lot of people out there who kind of aren't sold on primers or if they do anything, and I just kind of enjoy it. I think that there are certain primers that probably claim to do certain things and they really don't. But in my eyes, I enjoy the process of doing my makeup, so I don't mind the extra step. And then I find that I like typically to use 2 primers on a given day. So I like to use a more like illuminating primer. This one is my Hocus Pocus from Slip and Glory, and it looks like they discontinued this, which absolutely like makes me so sad because I really like this. I think that it gives a little bit of a glow without being too much. I think the Becca Backlight Priming Filter, that gives such a strong like sheen to your skin that it almost can look too much. So that one, I feel like the Hocus Pocus one is like, it looks better. I don't have an issue with it making me look too illuminated. It doesn't emphasize pores, but yet at the same time I feel like it gives my skin just a little bit of life that I wouldn't have otherwise with some of these foundations. So while I am excited to use this up, I am a little sad that it like will not be something I can replace in my collection. I don't even think there's a dupe product out there like it, so that's a little bit sad. And why I let my like primer set on my face, I ended up I have to really work hard to correct the dark inner corners of my eyes. You may see that I feel like my eyes are a little bit more deep set, and I think the inner corners and my nose is pretty narrow and long, that it makes this part of my face look very dark. And so before I put on foundation, I always put a little bit of concealer, and since the concealer I'm using isn't the highest coverage, I tend to prefer a higher coverage concealer, but I'm trying to get some use out of this. I have to use a primer to kind of get the darkness in my corners of my eyes to go away a little bit. So I put a little bit of concealer and stuff on first on my eyelids, just because again, they're so dark on my inner corners. And does anybody else struggle with that? Also, if I were gonna do like a more intricate eyeshadow look than the one I have planned today, I would probably go on top of this with like a primer potion or something like that from Urban Decay, like a more legitimate eyeshadow primer. But I'm just gonna hang out around the house today and edit videos, so this is gonna be all I'm gonna do today for primer. I'm setting my eyeshadow now with like a face powder from my Pan That Face palette, but I promise you I'll give you more life update in a second. But I feel like it always takes so many steps to like prep my eyeshadow and like get it going. So once we get started with some of the other products, I'll get more into like details of my life. So let's get into this. This is not technically, I'm actually gonna use some eyeshadow today that's not in a project pan because I need to film some looks for other videos. I have a lot of videos planned, but I'm having trouble in terms of I can only wear so many eyeshadow looks. I don't want to put on an eyeshadow look and then have to like take it off and refilm again. So I'm trying to like be strategic about which eyeshadow looks I'm wearing because I'm trying to prepare some videos that I'm excited to put out there, but it's a lot of work. I think right now I'm trying to plan like 25 or more eyeshadow looks to put into videos, and it's a lot. I'm having trouble keeping up with my ideas. So yeah, I am going to go into this orange shade and just kind of fluff it everywhere. I'm just kind of feeling like an orange, more muted kind of look today. So we're gonna kind of create like an orange smoky eye and see how much we can build this shade up. This is one of the shades in this palette too that I've played with the least. I've only really used it as like an outer corner / crease shade. So I'm trying to also get to know it a little bit better. I wonder if it pulls, like I want it to pull a little bit more orange sometimes, but I haven't really tried to play with it as much. So I'm trying to see how orange we can get it to build up today. And since we're finally to a point where I'm not really adding any color or anything, I'm just really playing with building this up, I guess I can go ahead and get into like some of my life updates. The first one is that I want to just say a giant thank you for any of you who are watching this video and also saw my miscarriage like a video where I talked about that. I knew that I had really good friends on here, and I knew that most people who I interact with on here are just so sweet and kind. And so I really didn't expect anything different, but I also like underestimated the amount of people who would comment and send their kindness and their love, and it's helped so much. I think like I talked about it. I'll link that video for anybody who didn't see it, but I talked about in that video that after the first miscarriage that I had in April, I kind of like told myself to swallow it, and I didn't talk about it at all. And so this time around, after the second miscarriage, being able to be more vocal about it I didn't even realize how much it would help me, but like I'm feeling, it's only been a couple weeks since that video got posted, but like I'm feeling so much more grounded and optimistic. And there's a lot that's going into that. Like I feel like I'm doing a good bit of work to try to feel better, but also there's some other things like coming into place. For example, and sorry if this is an overshare, but my body just finally got its first regular period after that second miscarriage. And I know it sounds kind of funny, but in a way, I finally feel like I have a little bit of control back over my body. When you're just kind of, you can't control anything and you are just kind of waiting and don't know when you might regulate again. Like it's just kind of a foreign feeling to not feel in control of my body, to not be able to predict my body. And so now that things are getting a little bit more regular, like I feel like I'm relaxing some and I'm getting some hope back, like some I feel a little bit physically more myself. And I'm also trying to do some things like for myself, just in terms of trying to make sure that I don't secretly self-sabotage, because I know that's something I mentioned in my video, that like I wasn't doing the best job of like taking care of myself, but it wasn't until I realized that in hindsight that became more clear. So for example, I had really like, especially when I'm like stressed or unhappy, I will like comfort food and like binge in a way. I will like eat a bunch of junk food, even though like at the end of it, like I know I've gone too far, and then I feel bad, and then my body doesn't react well to the amount of junk food that I eat. And it's a really negative cycle, because you start to like pick yourself apart in terms of like, why did I do that? And then you don't realize, but like you're doing it out of like, avoidance in a way, like avoiding negative feelings. So now it feels a little bit better to be really aware of that pattern and be able to kind of hopefully stop and slow down that pattern of behavior. And just like I'm making little like goals for myself. Like every week I sit down with Bo on Sunday night and we make 3 personal like health goals that we want to work on in that week. So like for the first couple of weeks, it was really basics. It was basics in terms of I need to like get back to doing really basic things like drinking water regularly. So I tried to make sure that I was drinking my gallon of water a day that I bought that giant bottle for. And you know, sadly, I mean, again, like in me trying to come back here and like adjust to like being alone again, or not having family around and not having really contact with friends, it took way longer than I expected to just even be able to motivate myself to do something basic like that. Also, you know, being a little bit like struggling with that loss and that grief, like, so now I'm doing better, and I've started to constantly hit that goal, and now I feel like I can start adding in a new goal. So like this week I'm gonna try to do, I bought a subscription to like a workout app that I can do at home, and I'm gonna try to do that at least 3 times this week. So it's just baby steps. I feel like, you know, I know that these are things that are not part of my routine, and then I don't even think about them. It doesn't even cross my mind to do these things. So in terms of setting these goals for myself, it's such a little baby step at a time, but it's really helping me make changes, if that makes sense. And I'm gonna blend this out. I almost want to try a wing, but I just know myself, like I'm gonna mess it up trying to do it on camera. So we'll skip that step for today. But now I need to go into doing actual like base products, so let me switch into that. All right, like I said earlier, I like to use 2 usually on a given day, 2 primers. So I like to go in with a pore filling primer right before I put my like actual foundation on. And mostly I wait, because I tend to like press this into like my pores here, because this is where the biggest pores are on my face, right here, mostly from like sun damage. And then sometimes I will put what's left right up here on my forehead. And if I found that if I put those, like if I put that pore filling thicker primer on too early, then I still do like that a lot when I'm like putting on my actual eyeshadow, and then it can get, I feel like it falls into my like wrinkles there. So I try to wait until the last minute to do the pore filling thicker primer. And today, since I'm mostly editing videos and not like doing other, like filming other intros or other videos for YouTube, I'm gonna go with my like everyday foundations, the It by DaLin foundation. This is the one that is, and when I say everyday foundation, I mostly just mean it's not full coverage. Like this is more light to medium coverage. So for me, this is like more so what I would go to wear on a given day. Whereas like my Tarte Hybrid Gel Foundation that's in my 20 and 2020 project pan, it's way more like high, almost full coverage. So when I wear that, I mostly just wear it on camera because it can look a little heavy in person. It's funny how I think realizing that it took me a long time, but like makeup that you see on camera is not always super flattering in person. Like it's so funny because I can do my makeup sometimes and in person be like, ooh, I look a little bit on the cakey side. And then on camera, it's like, wow, like my skin looks actually closer to flawless that day, which is so funny. And so it's one of those things too where I met like a YouTuber that I actually really like. And I remember in person thinking like, wow, like their makeup's really like a lot thicker than I thought it would be in person. But I saw later a vlog that they put up, and they had filmed that day, so they were wearing the same makeup because it was kind of cool to be like, oh, I met them on that day. And it was like something that on camera looked amazing, but sometimes I find at least that it doesn't always translate in person the way it does on camera. Now, I've been trying to use this product here up. I'm so close to having it done, but it's so slow going because I really only use it like right here. So what I've been doing, sometimes I put this on under foundation. Today, I'm gonna put it on top, mostly because I forgot to put it on under. So this is just, again, something that I would use to kind of help define that like lower cheek area that like you want to look white and bright so that your contour pops a little bit more. So like I like to kind of put it on, blend it out a little bit, and like you can see there's a demarcation like where my actual cheekbone goes. And even if I put like the slightest bit of foundation on at the top, it still shows through because that's a very light shade. But I like to kind of do that as like almost as like a reverse kind of contour technique. But that's how I'm using that product up. But it's definitely an extra step that when that product's gone, I definitely look forward to not having to do that anymore. Now you may have noticed that I don't put a ton of foundation onto my nose. I have a really hard time with foundation sticking to my nose. So, and it's like pretty much any and every foundation I've ever tried feels like that. Like I have issues with it. So what I've been doing, and again, I'm just going in with my NYX under eye corrector. I tend to like prep my under eyes, and then I will go in with concealer, and I'll put concealer on my nose first. And I will kind of see just how much coverage I can get to stick to my nose that day, because honestly, it depends on the day. Some days coverage will be fine on my nose, and some days it's like nothing you ever try is gonna work that day. So this is what I kind of do first, and then if I need a little bit extra coverage, I'll go on top with just the littlest squirt of like foundation and try to go build on top of whatever concealer decided to stick onto my nose that day. Now, at first glance, the actual concealer is kind of sticking to my nose decently today, which is kind of shocking. I didn't expect that, but I'll take it. So I may do just the slightest touch of foundation. Well, also if I can hold on to my sponge. So I don't know if you can see on my dirty beauty blender here, but I'm literally putting the slightest bit of foundation on my nose and then kind of bringing it down onto my cheeks right here. Now I'm gonna go in with this powder that I'm so close to finishing. I don't know if y'all can see this, but I actually shook all the powder out of this today into the cap, and I only have like the littlest bit amount in the cap left. I'm pretty sure I'll finish it today on camera. I'm just gonna set my under eyes only for a second, and then I'm gonna go in with my cream blush for a second. So 1 second. Okay, yeah, now I'm gonna use the Work Lip and Cheek Milk product this was the Sephora birthday gift this year, and I've only used it twice, but so far I was very impressed. I really liked the color. I thought it was like a really pretty fall appropriate color, and I think, well, I haven't tried drawing it onto my cheeks yet. Just most of the time I go for this like Real Techniques like cheek and highlight kind of sponge. I think this sponge is like, does a really good job of like placing it right where I want it to. The sponge itself isn't too big, and then also I like cream highlight a lot, so having the other side to use for cream highlight is quite like nice. And so yeah, I think that just gives like the faintest pretty little color, and if you drew it directly onto your cheek, I'm sure it would be way more intense, but I'm going for something a little softer today since the eyes are so orange. I don't want to be matchy today, but I also don't want to like steal away from those like kind of orangey eyes. Also, I was really surprised that I got the orange to build up. That it does look pretty orange on my eyes right now, so I'm pretty excited about that. All right, now I'm gonna set the rest of my face with some of the powder. Okay, as I'm putting on powder, I'm trying to think, have I really given enough of an update of my life? Probably not. I think I said it, I don't know what video I said it in. It might have been the miscarriage video or another video, but I've been so thankful for the fact that I have this hobby that I can just pour myself into, because it's giving me something to do. Like I wake up every day and I've already set down tasks for myself to do something for YouTube, and it's so social, and I'm really like, I feel like I kind of am not the best socially. Like it takes a lot of courage for me to comment on things, and I've gotten much better with it. But I know when I first started my channel, I would only kind of reply to people and who commented on videos, or even people that I loved watching. I was afraid to comment on their videos. Like I was afraid that whatever I was trying to say, it wouldn't come off right. And then the more people have like commented to me, the more I've learned like, all right, stop being a weirdo about that, because I'm really weird about that. And like, just comment and let this be social. It is meant to be social. And I'm so thankful that I've done that more. And I'm so thankful that all of you have like been so social and like commented so much, because it's honestly such a big relief when you're in a town where you don't really know a ton of people, and it's not really, Sweden is not the most social place in general. People don't like meet each other very easily. It's really hard to make friends. Once you do make friends in Sweden, it's really like, they're very giving and like sweet, but it's so hard to make friends in Sweden. For example, like small talk is not a thing. So it's just really helpful to like have such a social outlet like this, because it's really like, I'm starting to learn more people, starting to like remember names and pictures and stuff next to like YouTube handles, and it's just cool. Like I just feel really special and connected, and it's really, I think that's like something I really value now. Okay, I should also state that I usually remember to put on brows before I put on eyeshadow, because it makes me do the same like scrunchy thing to my face, which isn't always the best when you have foundation on already, but I forgot earlier, so we just went ahead and put some on now. And of course, I feel like I'm like part of the majority here on YouTube, but like my eyebrows never look the same, and I've come to like accept that. Okay, now it's time to layer bronzer, and you'll see what I mean when I've talked about lately that I'm flying through this palette, and I think it's mostly because the brush that I'm using, and also these powders are not as like, they don't come off as pigmented on me as I thought they would. So it's funny because I feel like I'm using it so much faster than I thought I would. It's also a little bit more cool tone than I thought it would be, or like not that I thought it would be, but that I prefer for this time of year. So I'm kind of layering multiple bronzers, but it's like, if you can tell, not the most dark thing, even though if you look at them in the pan, they look pretty darn dark. Also, I've been trying to contour a little bit with this e.l.f. powder. It's the powder side of the light eyebrow kit from e.l.f. And so far, I feel like it looks pretty good. It gives it a pretty good like shadow. So I'll be excited to use that up. But let me just say that I've been digging into that thing, and I feel like I'm barely making any progress on it. So I probably won't hit my goal. I think that one's in my graveyard project pan, and I was supposed to hit pan on that by the end of this month, and so far it barely looks used, even though I dig into it constantly. Okay, I'm going back in with some more bronzer up top and on the cheeks. I really like these like super bronzed looks, so let's see. I tend to build up my bronzer quite a bit. I'm also going to go into the Lorac Tantalizer, and this is a little bit more warm tone. So I like to kind of do this as like the final bronzer topper to everything that I've already put on. So not much there, like I barely dip into that, but. And then I take whatever's left and make sure I try to give myself a better chin, even though I'm really bad at doing that. Okay, highlight. I kind of want to do 2 layers of highlight. I'm going to do a really light layer. Actually, I'm going to start out with the Lunch Money one, and then I'm going to go over the top with my Cruella one. This Lunch Money one is not in a project pan, but like look how much pan I have on it just because I love it so much. So I kind of want to do a little bit of that on each cheek and then go over it with my Cruella one. The Cruella one doesn't really have a base to it, so it looks very like sheer. So I find that it layers with other highlights quite well. And I just really, again, I love the sponge for any like cream highlights, so nice. Okay, this may be a mistake, but I also have this is again not in a project, but I did put this in my I shot my stash recently. This is just an orange lip balm, and I almost want my blush to just be a hint more orange to it. So I'm put some on my wrist here, and then I'm just gonna take it off my wrist and try to layer it on top. Oh yeah, that looks much better in my opinion. Okay. I don't know if it's coming across on camera, but wow, that's actually a really pretty color. Maybe I need to think about putting this in a project pan in the future and using up that balm because it's actually really pretty. Oh wow, I really like that. Okay. Okay, let me pop a little bit of my Cruella highlight on, and I'm making some good progress in this. This is a bigger goal for me. I'm trying to, ooh, it's getting a little flaky, a little bit. I'm trying to make that pan into like the first inner circle, like reveal it. I'm making, what are words? Why am I having such a hard time describing that? Yeah, I'm just trying to expand the pan to the first like actual circle in that pan. So that's such a nice shade. Looks really good on top of Lunch Money in person. We'll see what it looks like on camera. And then sometimes, you know, I like to be a little even more extra. And I'm gonna grab my Physicians Formula blush. It actually doesn't really deposit any pigment, but I find that it just gives like a really pretty like sheen to my cheeks. So I kind of think that it's like the perfect product to like blend both of my like blush and my highlight together. So I'm gonna mix these two. And then I'm gonna put on all of my mascara. Okay, I'm gonna totally cut from like before and after for this part because I cannot talk and put on like mascara products. But I'm gonna put on my lash primer, curl my lashes, put on lash primer, put this on while that lash primer is drying. This is my brow gel, and then I will layer both of these. This is the Too Faced Better Than Sex and my Essence Volume Stylist mascara, and I will be right back. Okay, I am back. Mascara is on, and I probably should have gotten up and gone and like exfoliated my lips, but I'm a little lazy right now, so we're just gonna put this orange balm on. I love this balm. It's so pretty. Honestly, I don't even think it's the formula that I like. I actually kind of sometimes struggle with getting it to look even, but I think I love the color of it so much. Like it's kind of a not too loud orange, if that makes sense. But I think what I'm gonna do to kind of tone down that orange look a little bit, because it's not exactly, it has more red in the undertone than like my eyeshadow does. I almost don't know, like I almost want to mix it a little bit with like a lip pencil and then maybe just dot the littlest bit of this, which, oh my gosh, get a little sneak peek of this. How well am I doing on this gloss? And so I might mix a little bit of this and that together just to see if I can tone down that orange a little bit. Okay, yeah, mixing like a nude lip kind of helped in person. I'm not sure how much, again, it'll show on camera, but it helped a little bit. And then I'm just gonna dot like the tiniest bit of gloss here. I've been doing such a good job at wearing this gloss. I've been applying it like probably at least 3 times a day, sometimes more. And I either do like this where I put like the tiniest bit on and then like just spread it around, use my finger, or sometimes I'm able to wear it like pretty thick. But I literally just put this into a project and I'm so close. I actually think I might almost be done with it by the first update, which makes me really excited. And last up is my little peach spray. So I'm gonna just do a little bit of this because I don't think I really needed a ton. So it's just mostly like 2 sprays I think it'll do. It is very fragranced, by the way. I have to be careful not to open my eyes too soon because it will sometimes make my eyes water. Like, especially if I spray like a lot more than that and then open my eyes too soon. Yeah, so it's very fragranced. All right, and this is the finished look. I hope you enjoyed a little get ready with me today. Sorry it wasn't the most interesting. I feel like mostly it was just me checking in, letting you know that I'm doing better. I'm slowly starting to feel more myself, and I feel like I'm making better goals for myself. So I'm feeling a little bit more grounded, and I have a lot of y'all to thank for that reason. So it's been very helpful to kind of be able to tell my story. I just wanted to say a personal thank you, let you know that I'm doing okay, put on some makeup, And yeah, that's it. Make sure you say hello in the comments, and I will see you in the next one.